What a backhanded compliment, huh?
That's the kind of bet I give my family when like my mom's like, oh, give me something that's like pretty much guaranteed to hit.
Because it just smells like a trap.
Tongue punch in Taylor Swift's fart box. What a line.
All right, here we go. We got week 2 of H2H head-to-head. We got Tasos in the building, myself. Tasos coming off of a week 1 win. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we'll explain the rules in just a second, but gotta give the flowers right away for a week 1 win. It was ugly for both of us.
Horrible.
But you got the win.
Not good at all.
How you feeling with the just no, it wasn't. How you feeling with the first ever win in the head-to-head arena here?
You know, my first thoughts coming off of week 1 was, oh God, I went 1 and 3 on my picks. Not really the best start to the podcast history, but here's the thing. I won. And so at the end of the day, a win's a win. Was it the prettiest win of all time? No. But I'll take my flowers. I'll take my trophy, my non-existent trophy, and the first ever win in H2H era. I will gladly accept it as horrible and ugly as it was at times. I will gladly accept this win.
And I have to bend the knee and give it to you because it was the inaugural week. I can't be mad. I can't be anything. Great success of the show. Love the comments from last week too. So it's like, shout out to everyone that watched. Shout out to you. I will say, that went back and forth. Like, not necessarily on paper, but that went back and forth. Christian McCaffrey was one of my big hitters. I had him for a first half touchdown. He scored within the first 2 plays in the second half. And I was like, are you kidding me, C-Mac? He may be banned. Week 2, he's banned from me potentially. But you had some that, like, you went 1 and 3, but could have had plenty of wins.
Oh, I went 1 and 3, but realistically, there was a point, like, in the fourth quarter of all those games where I could have went 4-0. Like, Patriots, I had them +4. They're my lock. They lose by 5. I had the Bucks-Vikings over. They scored 37, but Kirk Cousins crapped his pants on national television and just couldn't, fumbling, throwing picks. And then Jake Ferguson, 5 red zone targets. Dak Prescott just kept throwing to him in the red zone. He just couldn't come up with one. It was frustrating because it's like they were all in theory good bets. And you know what the worst part was, Ev? So I obviously came in prepared. I had some extra picks that I didn't get used on the show. All those picks won. All those picks, never bet them, never even thought of them again. I had like Packers money line. I had Bucks money line. I had all these picks that I just like threw away. I crumbled up my piece of paper, threw it out. I happened to think back on it, and I was like, I literally had all these plays that won, and I just didn't bet them. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hopefully we use some of those good plays this week.
Hey, you did get the win overall, but I will say this: the only pick you disapproved
was the one that won.
Of mine last week was Titans +3, and it won. So we had a weird start to the season, but what do you say we jump into? I guess it's still early, so we can explain to some people watching, but let's jump into it. What we do is we're gonna go through. Tasos and myself each will get 4 picks here, and may the best man win. Whoever comes out units wise. So each of these picks is going to be considered 1 unit play, and then units wise at the end of the week, that is the winner. Tasos now 1-0. I am 0-1, and we spin a wheel here, which is a little bit different, and I think which makes our show unlike any other. We spin a wheel in multiple ways, and we'll get to the fade me round at the end, which Tasso capitalized on last week. But we'll kind of walk you through it as you go. So if you are new, buckle up, get your popcorn, get ready, watch Tasos lose this week because I am coming for blood. But if you're a returning viewer, thank you guys very much. Hit that like button, and let's go ahead and jump into it. We got the first wheel spin, which is going to be the decider of who picks first, and then it is a snake draft after that. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel for the first time. Tasos, you won this last time. Let's see what you got this time.
Yeah, I was hot on this wheel last time, and here we go. Slow down. Yes, sir.
My goodness.
Why can't I have this hit rate on the bets with the wheel? Like, it's crazy. I think now I'm like 5-1 on wheel spins, but 1 and 3 on bets. This is not. We need to transfer this over. Let me lose some wheel spins and get some hits on these bets.
You have literally you've called your shots on the wheel too. Like, I don't get this. Why don't we just ditch this show idea and just start betting on wheels? And you have you ever played roulette?
You know what? I'm a pretty decent roulette player. I'm not gonna lie. I've had some luck on roulette in my day.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me. But let's jump in. Are we going with a money line, a total, a spread, or a player prop in pick number 1, round number 1? Again, it's a snake draft.
Give me a total. I want a total. I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna get a close.
Oh, come on. Stop.
I'll take. All right.
Boom.
Yep. I
Finally.
wanted a total, but that's fine.
Finally, you don't
That's
get
fine.
something here.
That's okay. Spread was my second. That was my second
All right,
answer.
so we each. Of course it was. You just love the wheel. All right. We each go with a spread pick here in this round. Tasos goes first, then I go, and then it's a snake draft. We spin the wheel again for next round. I get 2 in a row. But Tasos, what do you got for a spread pick? Please do not take one of mine.
This I was going through the board, looking through bets. This one just jumped out at me, and just it's saying to me, Ev, this bet just like saying to me, I don't know. It's almost too easy. I'm afraid to bet it. I'm going New York Giants -5.5. You can get that at -110 odds on DraftKings. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Giants, obviously. If you watch Sunday Night Football, I feel sorry for you, especially if you're a Giants fan, because they got manhandled by the Cowboys. Cardinals, they did lose week 1, but they did cover against the Commanders. Another ugly game. We had a few ugly games week 1. That was an ugly one for sure. I just think the Giants, coming off that loss, you know that there's going to be some motivation in that locker room. You know Brian Dable, who I really respect as a coach. You know he's going to get these guys going. They're not just going to take that loss and sit on it. They are going to come back fighting. And what better team to have a bounce back game against than the Arizona Cardinals, who are, I think, without a doubt, the worst football team in the NFL right now. Cardinals, they did cover week 1. They had some fight in them. I think Jonathan Gannon, he did get their defense against the Commanders. Their defense actually played pretty well. I just think the Giants are significantly better. They're obviously pissed off. 5.5 points. I think the Giants, honestly, I thought about doing an alternate line just because I think not only they're going to win and cover, they may win by like 2 touchdowns. I think they're going to take out a lot of frustrations on this Cardinals team. So Giants -5.5. I think it's just an easy bet, too easy almost, that it kind of scares me. But I'm going Giants -5.5.
I think that was this was on my sheet at one point, and I gave it a big old strike through and cross off because it just smells like a trap.
Yep.
Why? I get that opening night they got smoked. Like we all know that, right? Why are they only 5.5 now? 5.5 to like that's a weird number. You know what I mean? Like when are you going to end a game on? It's almost like that would matter if they went to OT and scored a touchdown and won by 6. Because if you're going to win by 6, you might as well win by 7 or so in the NFL. But I saw that and I was like, that just seems too trappy. So I will admit it was on my sheet at one point. Had to strike it through because it smells like a trap. But sometimes the reward in the trap, you might as well get your foot clamped. You know what I mean? It's like a bear gets a nice little pot of honey. It's like, yeah, I'll get a toenail clip.
Well,
for
the
honey.
thing is, sometimes with these bets, it's so much of a trap that it's like it's an anti-trap because like they want you to bet the Cardinals because they're like, wait a second, like why are the Giants only 5.5 point favorites? So everybody's betting Cardinals. So I'm going to go into the trap. I'm going to take the trap right to the feet. And I'm going Giants -5.5. I don't care. Like you said, I'll take the pot of honey, even if I lose a toe in the process. We'll take it.
Yeah, it's fair enough. All right. I am looking at an alternate line, and I kind of hope that we get 2 spread picks in today's video because I have another one that I really want to play. But my alternate line here is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals -6.5 here against the Baltimore Ravens for +142 odds. Ravens, I guess you could say, did their job, right? They, I guess, played well in week 1, well enough, I guess you would say, winning 25-9. They covered their spread. Defense looked all right, scored 25 points. Bengals, not so much. The Bengals looked like crap to the point where they pulled Joe Burrow with, just under 6 minutes left. 1, because he's getting killed, and 2, because the game's out of reach with nearly a third of a quarter left. I think the Bengals bounce back here. You have them also, at home, kind of waiting to be like, all right, here's our season opener. They can't be that bad again. Let's not forget that prior to last week against the Browns, which, by the way, talk about bets that we wanted on the sheet or wanted in yesterday, last video that weren't. Browns money line was my money line play. We never got across money line, but that was one of my plays. But I did also have that in one of the picks videos for the weekend on the channel. So we got that out there in public. But everyone thought this Bengals team is Super Bowl contender, blah, blah, blah. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. where'd that go? Just one game? We're just going to ditch that? No, they're still that good. The Ravens are fine. I think a little bit overrated. Give me the Bengals. Right now, their actual line is 3.5. I'm paying up a field goal to get those odds, -6.5. They're going to win by a touchdown. I almost went even farther, looking at like 9.5, winning by 10 points and whatnot. But I figured that I could beat you down with a +142 play over on FanDuel. So I will take the Bengals gladly at -6.5. What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
Ev, this is so we just talked about traps in the last bet. This is a trap for sure. And the fact that you went ahead and then upped it even more is crazy. Listen, the Bengals looked awful, right? And that's but the thing is, if you follow trends, which I typically do, this is not new. Especially if you listen to Bengals fans, this is what happens. Even you go back to just last year,
Week 1,
not
yep.
even just week 1. If you go back to last year, they lose to the Steelers. Yeah, they lose to the Steelers in overtime week 1. And then they come back against the Dallas Cowboys and lose that one too in week 2 of last year. They start 0-2 last year. Joe Burrow, because typically he's starting a season off either hurt or they don't play him in the preseason, he misses time and he comes out rusty and he comes out kind of shaky. And that's kind of what we saw in week 1 versus the Browns. I think the same thing's probably going to happen here. The Ravens are no pushover. Like they didn't really impress me, like you said. They lose J.K. Dobbins, torn Achilles. It's sad. Marcus Williams tears a pec. So they've got some injuries. The Ravens are always injured, it feels like, and they already have some tough injuries early. But these games typically are tight. These AFC North matchups, you never really know which way they're going to go. I just think not only 3.5 is a stretch, but then when you push it up to 6.5, I really don't like that personally. But you know what? If you like losing, you can go ahead and bet it. I mean, I can't really stop you from doing it, but all I can do is give you my take and my advice. But if you want to lose, you can go ahead and bet Bengals -6.5.
I really wish you didn't win last week so I could have some ground to stand on here. This is tough. I can't even say anything. We're only 1 week
The
in.
Bengals just look that bad, and I do think it's gonna take a couple weeks to get this thing going. And their defense didn't look all that great either. And I think the Ravens' offense is better than the Browns' offense, not by much, but I do think it's a little bit better. So maybe they can get the 3.5, but I think 6.5. They're not winning by a touchdown.
We shall see. Let's go ahead and move into round number 2 here. I am hoping for a player prop in this one because I think I have a player prop that is just an absolute lock. Like I almost want to take an alternate line on it, but I'm not going to. But let's see what we got here. I'm hoping for a player prop. Again, it's snake draft, so this is my second pick
You're gonna
in
get
a
what you
row.
want
And
too.
would you
You're gonna
look
get it.
at that
Yep.
player prop? Taking that one to town.
I'm happy
here. All
for
right.
you. I'm happy
This
for
one
you.
isn't the
You
hugest of
finally
plus
got a
money.
wheel spin. You
Oh,
finally
thank
got
you.
one. There you go. Yeah, let's clap it up for Ev. I think
All
that's the
right,
first
you're right.
one you got.
Finally. hey, you got to take your small wins. Finally get one. Now I can take a bet that's probably going to lose. But we are looking at a Thursday night football player prop, right? Which is interesting. This comes out, obviously, not too much turnaround before that. So we're going to know at least where I stand pretty quickly here. I'm looking at the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, longest rush over 13.5 yards. Vikings, not the biggest sack team, but they do get to the quarterback all right. They hurry the quarterback really well. Top 10 team last year. Jalen Hurts, a very mobile quarterback, also looks for the run. I think there's going to be a couple opportunities where he's able to, one, be hurried, and instead of, making a bad throw like a lot of quarterbacks do when hurried, he's going to tuck and run. And you said it last week, so you can't deny it. He's running right up at a pretty below par or subpar Minnesota defense. I think Jalen Hurts has the chance to break off one long run here. We're looking at -115 odds over on FanDuel for this. So not the biggest of hitters I'm not even going to say when it does hit, but I do think that, this is a team that can get to the quarterback, but never really get to the quarterback. Kind of lines up perfectly for a Jalen Hurts long run. So it could be one run. He could do this on one play, taking the over 13.5 longest rush.
I like that pick. I don't want to call it soft because it's kind of a little mean, but it was kind of a soft pick just because it's so easy. I think you're spot on. I think it's a hit. Like I think you're probably going to win that bet. But the thing is, you need units here to beat me, and -115. That's not going to do it. So you can take your Jalen Hurts bet. I'm sure it's going to cash, and I'm sure you'll win a little bit off of that. But if you want to beat me, you're going to need to take a little more risk with your props and with your bets in general. So that's not bad. I think you got a winner on your hands, but it's kind of a soft winner.
What a backhanded compliment, huh?
That's a kind of bet I give my family when they're like, oh, like we need, we want a little extra cash. Like what's a safe bet you can give me? Like my mom's like, oh, give me something that's like pretty much guaranteed to hit. But so I'm like, all right, yeah, take this Jalen Hurts over 13.5 rushing yards, and you'll win like $5 off of it. But it's something.
All right. What's your player prop? Because I can't wait to see how hard your player prop is.
Listen, it's not crazy, but it's so simple though, and the odds great. So I have T.J. Hawkinson anytime touchdown score plus 200. If you watch the Patriots-Eagles game, Hunter Henry got a lot done against the Eagles defense. He kept finding the soft spots in the defense. He had a touchdown, and that's Hunter Henry and Mac Jones. This is Kirk Cousins and T.J. Hawkinson. And honestly, I respect the Eagles. I think they're one of the top teams in the league, but their defense looks a little shaky. Like the fact that Mac Jones, I won't say he was throwing on them easily, but he was throwing on them, had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think their linebackers, they're kind of shaky right now, and I think that a player like T.J. Hawkinson could definitely get a touchdown on this defense. So T.J. Hawkinson, anytime touchdown, plus 200.
You know what? I'll be the nice guy, even though you're being a jerk. You can actually get that on DraftKings plus 255. So there's some even more value that I could keep that to myself and let you have a plus 200. But I'm a fair man, and also I know if I see that and didn't tell you, I know it's gonna hit. So it's like now at least I have no karma coming my way. So T.J. Hawkinson touchdown.
Wise. That's smart.
That is a nice little play. I give you credit there. Right when you said T.J. Hawkinson touchdown, I immediately thought Hunter Henry. And I immediately thought how, people weren't really even talking about Hunter Henry for the Patriots in the offseason all that much, right? And then all of a sudden it's like I think he was the first completion of the game, or one of the first. And then they were looking to him. And I was like, okay, this Eagles offense or Eagles defense kind of allowing that right over the middle, mid-range type throws consistently. So you know what? I can't hate on it. You're kind of trumping me in this episode because you have all of the power. Once I tie it up 1-1, then we'll be back to square one. But I'm like, you're like walking me like a dog. What am I supposed to say? Bad pick? And you'd be like, okay, go take another weekly loss. But
I have the high ground.
I don't hate.
What can I say?
Tough. But all right. So we now have, just to recap on the spread here, I have the Bengals alternate line. You took the Giants line there. I took the Jalen Hurts over 13.5 longest rush. And then you just took TJ Hawkinson over just to get any time touchdown there. So let's jump to the third round here. And let's see what we do have. We'll spin the wheel.
Oh, what do I want?
What are you looking for?
I'm ready for a money line. I wouldn't be mad with the spread, but I'll take a money line, and we're gonna get spread. All right, I'll take it.
Spread indeed.
I'll take it.
All right, I told you I didn't want you. I said don't let me get 2 spreads. I told you that. Now we got a second spread. I'm excited for this one. Just don't take it.
All right.
I only brought 2. I only brought 2. If you take this one, I'm gonna have to score.
I got a couple options here. You know what? In the same vein, kind of a similar pick to what like the Giants, the same kind of thing. I'm gonna go Denver Broncos minus 3.5. You can get that at minus 105 on DraftKings. Kind of the same spirit. I thought they played decently well enough against the Raiders. They're playing the Commanders this week, who obviously they beat the Cardinals, but it wasn't a super impressive win. Hopefully Jerry Jeudy's back this week for Denver. I'm not 100% sure on that at the time of recording, but if he comes back, this is even more of a surefire bet. I just think Washington's not that great. I wasn't really super impressed. Their defense isn't bad, but the Broncos have the offensive line to combat their defensive line. I think Sean Payton's offense kind of got off to a rough start in week 1. I don't think that'll be the case in week 2. They are at home also, which does help. So I got Broncos. I never loved 3.5. It's one of the worst spreads you can bet. But I think Denver wins this game, and I think they win it pretty convincingly. So I think Broncos minus 3.5, and you can get that at almost even odds on DraftKings. So that's another thing I liked on that.
Yeah, the value is definitely there with the minus 105. The Commanders didn't really disappoint to the eye test necessarily last week, though. I don't think that they were all that bad, or all that good, I should say, but they weren't really like all that bad. That was, finished at 46, or 36, excuse me. I took the under 34.5, so that was a bummer. But 20 points from that team wasn't even something that I expected. And I don't know if the Broncos, like, when are we gonna just admit that Russ may not be cook worthy anymore? Like he had what, 2 touchdown passes, I think, in week 1, but still under 200 yards or whatever it was, not all that great. So while I do think that this kind of falls into a good bucket of like small spread, better team versus worse team, I still think that, like, Russ just isn't fully there yet. I don't trust the Broncos enough to ever bet on them yet.
That's fair. That's fair. Like that, and I think that's the thing with me is like I keep falling into this trap of like, hey, it's Russell Wilson. Like remember and he had all these great plays with Pete Carroll, and he was always this underrated, almost MVP caliber quarterback for years in Seattle, and he comes to Denver, and he stunk it up last year. I just he's gonna come to form again, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's I'm a sucker for pain, but I think Broncos. I think Russ will turn it around this year, and I think it starts this week.
All right. Well, we shall see. Again, I don't want to say that it's not going to happen, but week 2, waiting for us to turn it around, that's what scares me. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? It's
Yeah.
not necessarily.
Yep.
Again, it's not really like I'm necessarily knocking that he will. Week 2, it's like, how many weeks? We should give him at least a grace period. But I like my spot here. It's very similar to my first pick, and I'm looking at Kansas City -3 here against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have two teams
Wow.
that disappointed. Definitely, Kansas City to light up to start off the season. Lions come out, win that one, obviously. And this Jaguars team, I do know that they have the hype, and I get the hype. Like, I understand part of why people really like this team and everything like that. But you got Patrick Mahomes. And though he had a bunch of drops coming from, regardless of Travis Kelce, right? I should even say that. I don't know, necessarily where we are here. In fact, almost the only news you could find about him right now is that is he or is he not dating Taylor Swift? And I'm like, yeah, but how's the knee? Like, what are we doing here? But anyways, I do think that, if Patrick Mahomes just does not throw to Kadarius Toney last week, they win that game. It was that slim of a margin that Kadarius Toney led to the interception, dropped 2 critical passes late in the game. If Patrick Mahomes can just kind of work around and find some of his other guys, I think you have a similar Kansas City versus Detroit type of matchup in Kansas City versus the Jaguars. Jaguars may be an up-and-coming team. I'm not knocking them for that, anything like that. I like Detroit as well. But Kansas City is still Kansas City. You got to get through them to be crowned the champions of the league. And I just can't see them starting the season 0-2. Regardless of Kelce, I hope Chris Jones plays. Those are 2 massive pieces that obviously are missing from them, but I think they could have won that game Thursday night, even without those guys, if a couple bounces went different ways. So I'm trusting Patrick Mahomes here.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. Jacksonville to me is. I think they're going to be the 1 seed in the AFC this year. I'm not necessarily saying they're the best team in the AFC, but they do have the best schedule in terms of all these top contenders playing in the AFC South. I think Kansas. You're right. And the thing with Kansas City is, even if they could go 0-5, and I still think they're a lock for the playoffs. Like this, they're going to figure it out. The problem is with them. Like you said, we don't know if Kelce or Chris Jones are going to play. Even if they do, if Kelce plays, he's going to be a little hobbled. And Chris Jones has sat out all preseason holding out for this contract. So even if he plays, there's going to be some rust there. And I do think Kansas City, they have a real problem here with this wide receiver room. It's terrible. And it's not just Kadarius Toney. He's obviously the main culprit, and rightfully so. He was the worst of the bunch. But Sky Moore didn't show up. Marquez Valdes-Scantling didn't show up. And to be honest, outside of those 3, the rest of their receiver room are to be honest, no names. I feel bad saying that because they're pro athletes, but they're no names. And then obviously they got the running backs. Pacheco's good, and McKinnon, you can kind of rely on him in the passing game, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a bust. So I look at this Chiefs offense. I think they have a lot of things to work out versus with the Jaguars, they're loaded. And they didn't play great against the Colts, but they still did what was expected of them. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, year 3, you got a great coach in Doug Marrone. They got weapons everywhere. I mean, Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne. Evan Ingram. I mean, they're just loaded on offense and defensively. Although I don't think they're great, I think they're good enough against these Chiefs, these less than good Chiefs receivers. I think they can hold their own. So I get where you're coming from. I do, I could definitely see the Chiefs winning this one. I think this is a toss up. It's a coin flip of a game. I do think there is an element of Jacksonville, like the Chiefs ended their season last year.
Mhm.
Jacksonville may come into this looking for some revenge. I would personally lean on Jaguars, but I don't hate the pick. This is the first pick of yours today where I see where you're coming from and I can agree with it.
I think everyone is thinking what you're thinking. Like, oh, Jacksonville, like they're so mad after last year. You just listed all of those guys, right? It's like, okay,
Yep.
well, you also like technically everyone, not even just you, but you right now. So you're the punching bag, I guess, for me. You just listed, oh, all these guys are gonna show up, and then all these guys aren't gonna show up. And it's like, well, you're just hypothesizing that those guys you listed for Kansas City aren't going to show up after week one because they didn't, right? And then everyone's just going to show up for Jacksonville after week one when they did. It's like that's 1 week of football when, Sky Moore, I know that he had the hype coming in. Valdez Scantling, we've seen. McKinnon, Pacheco, even Edwards-Helaire, who actually looked decent early on and then just like faded into the abyss in that game, right? All those guys that you're listing, like, who's to say they don't show up? Like Sky Moore, Valdez can't, like, where's that? Or Kadarius Coney? Hell, if Patrick Mahomes ever throws in the ball again, it's like we're gonna use that one game to rewrite the history that everyone was saying Patrick Mahomes still has weapons. Blah. Like, where's the hype of those guys just because 1 week's happened? So that's where I kind of want to fade the common take narrative of the Chiefs stink. Like we as Patriots fans witnessed that happen right in front of our eyes, right? They don't have
Yeah.
anything. You're telling me, and I know you kind of just said at the end you wouldn't be, but you're telling me you'd be surprised if all of a sudden it's like Sky Moore, a touchdown and 4 receptions for 101 yards, and you know what I mean? It's like the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes still Patrick Mahomes. Trevor Lawrence year 3, great. I'd take Patrick Mahomes any day over him. And if it's a defensive game, then I'm not gonna lie, I don't really love the Chiefs' stance in that, but I don't really want it to be a defensive game. I'm thinking that this is going to be a game where some of those guys that you mentioned that didn't step up end up stepping up. Maybe they right their wrongs, and a lot of points are scored. And I'm taking the slinger of Patrick Mahomes over Lawrence.
And I agree with you what you're saying because it's true. The Patriots did what worries me is you kind of sound like me in 2019 with the Patriots, where again we said the same thing. Oh, they're going to be fine. Like it doesn't matter who's out there. Brady
And then
will
they just
find them.
weren't.
But you quickly realize like you can only rely on the N'Keal Harrys and those kind of receivers for too long. Like even the Patriots had those moments in the 2010s where when they had Aaron Dobson and Kenbrell Tompkins. It wasn't until they brought in Amendola and had Edelman and Hogan and Gronk that they finally. And that's I think my point at the end of the day is like the Patriots. Yes, they had bad receivers and they had less than par receivers, absolutely. But there was always someone. They always had Edelman and Gronk. They always had Welker and Gronk, or Welker and Hernandez and Gronk. You know what I mean? They always had one or two guys that you could absolutely rely on. In Kansas City, especially if Kelsey doesn't play, I don't think they have that. I don't.
Well,
think
that is the thing.
Receivers,
I'll say that. Like, I do like. I am hope. I think this line jumps if Kelsey plays. Like, I don't. Yeah. I think it's in the air right now. It's 3. It's a field goal right now. If Kelsey plays, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to 4.5, like a total 1.5 type of a swing. If he does have his pinky, then I love this even more. But that's kind of the gamble that I'm taking here because it's one field goal score of a game, and I'm trusting the better quarterback. I'm not going to tell you that, Ridley, Flowers, Kirk are worse than Sky Moore. I wouldn't even tell you that prior to the season, even before them stinking,
Yeah.
I'm trusting Patrick Mahomes. Hopeful Kelsey plays, but I do think that Patrick Mahomes has a bounce back week. We've seen him do it before. This is kind of the same talk, and not to totally cut you off, but to also cut you off. Same talk that everyone said about when Tyreek Hill left. And then Patrick Mahomes has a great game coming back. Who are these nobodies? I get it. It's the 2019 Patriots could be different than, say, a few years before Patriots. This isn't Patrick Mahomes near the end of his career. This is prime Patrick Mahomes. And you know what? I'll take it. I'll even, now that we've gone back and forth on it, it'll be even more rewarding when the Chiefs win by 1 million. Travis Kelce doesn't play. He's over there tongue punching Taylor Swift's fart box and jumping on his knee while he's not even, injured. And then he's like, why aren't you playing football, dude? Chris Jones is just waiting for money. Like, I'll take the victory. You can give it to me now if you want.
Tongue punching Taylor Swift's fart box. What a line. um, I think last point on it. I think the only thing with the Chiefs is like I get the narrative that you're going with is like it's the Chiefs against the world. Like everyone's they're hating on them. I think the biggest difference here is that these wide receiver worries they're obviously amplified after that game, but I mean this wasn't like a new thing. Everyone has, I mean not everyone, but I think if you follow it, their wide receiver thing has been an issue all offseason. Like they lose Juju Smith-Schuster, they lose they could have had DeAndre Hopkins. They're not aggressive enough with it. The wide receiver thing has been an issue really all offseason that they haven't fixed. So now you're just seeing it come to light. And again, not to keep comparing them to New England, but it feels like the Patriots side of things where, they kept saying, oh, we don't need to pay this guy and we don't need this guy. And you know what? We're going to go cheap on the wide receivers. And then what happens is you see what was happening. I mean, you've seen it for the last 3-4 years. We don't have the wide receiver position figured out. It's a little bit different, obviously, because Mahomes, I think, is a different kind of quarterback. He's in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's better at making these receivers work. But I do think that there is a point where you have to get yourself some sort of weapons. And right now, the Chiefs' weapons, they don't have many. And I wouldn't be surprised if they trade for a wide receiver at some point in the coming weeks. But not a horrible bet. I don't hate it. But
all right.
Also, we're not talking about Taylor Swift. You brought up Taylor Swift. Last point. That's not really a good thing for the Chiefs. She's it's not as bad as the Kardashian curse. Not as bad as Kardashian curse, but it's pretty close. I mean, especially if things don't work out with Travis Kelce, the Chiefs may never win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that that's a terrible thing. Like I want Travis Kelce focused on football, not being the next headline of a song. So I do totally agree with that one. I didn't mean to bring it up as if it was a good thing. Like good for Travis Kelce, I guess, but not necessarily a good thing. But all right, are we ready for the fade me round?
Yep.
All right, if you guys don't know what the fade me round is, essentially we're going to have the wheel just like we've done for all these rounds, but just like when we decided the draft order, it's going to be either my name or Tasos' name, who it lands or what the wheel lands on. Then whoever it lands on, they get to pick any pick on the slate here, any pick, player prop, total, spread, whatever it is, and the other person, their hand is forced to take the other side of things. Tasos had a good strategy last week. He took Miami plus 140 on the money line. I was like, all right, bold move, Cotton. And he kind of, dwarfed my chances. Even if I did win that, he had me at a low, minus 160 odds to win. So there's plenty of strategies here to look at. And there's plenty that we could think about because I do think that this is a really interesting segment. So again, whatever it lands on, that person gets to make any pick. The other person's forced to take the opposite. And let's go ahead and see what we got. I really hope it's me because I think I want to play. I want to blow the belt shot here. If it's
gonna be me. It's going on me. Slow down. Stop. Where does that go? No! Oh! Don't tease me like that, Wheel. Come on now.
What a turn of events. I don't know if I should ask you like off camera if this rule is allowed before announcing it. Should we do that? The people will be eternally curious, but it might be something worth talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure. What are you? All
right,
where are you going with this?
All right, we'll cut this. All right, we just had a heated debate off camera. We have the footage if we ever need to, but it wasn't really that heated. We did just determine a rule here that if someone takes, I guess we can just kind of, without giving exactly what the conversation was, you can't directly sort of trump someone's pick with a fade me pick. Like I can't make Tasos bet against himself for something that he's already bet in the video. So yeah, welcome to the real-time rules finding out with us. But my fade me pick here is going to be, this is a tough one. This is a tough one because I don't necessarily know the strategy. This is more of like a 50-50 spot. So last week you took a long shot and the swing when you won that underdog was absolutely massive and it was a good pull. I think mine's a little bit more on the 50-50 note here, but I do like the spot. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Seattle Seahawks under 22 points as a team for their team total. They're playing against the Detroit Lions. Okay. I think the Lions defense brings it against them. the juice ain't all that great here. Minus 150 over on Caesars, okay? That ain't that great if
I
I
love
win.
this.
And plus 110 if they score 23 points for you. So we're looking at the Seahawks here. I'm rooting against them. You just became the biggest Seahawks fan in the room. My fade me pick is Seahawks under 22 team total. Do you like that? You're like ecstatic.
Oh, I love that. You just played into my hand. Honestly, that was perfect. I want to thank you because that's perfect. They were one of my bets that we didn't really get a total, so I didn't get to use it. One of my favorite bets of this week is Lions Seahawks over 47.5. It's one of my favorite bets of the week. One of my favorite bets of the week. I have a little number because it's locked in now. It's too late, but I did pull up some stats here.
It is
the
locked
last
in.
two
That's
times
a fact. It's locked in.
That's locked in. The last 2 times these teams played, the Seahawks last year on October 2nd won 48-45 against the Lions. Mm-hmm. And the year before that, they won 51-29 against the Lions. The year before that, they won 28-14. And the year before that, they won 20. So the last 4 times they played, that over of 22 points has hit.
All I'm hearing is a different Lions team, a different Lions team, a different Lions team. Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson. Except last year.
Not last year.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah. Well,
and they dropped 48
from the record. I know. Well,
and they dropped 48 with Geno.
And then I kind of
same
like
coaches, pretty much the same team. Very similar teams last year.
What week was that? Was that the week before? Was that before the Lions went on their tear? Because that's a different Lions team. I don't remember when they played last week.
You know what? I don't have that data in front of me. It was October 2nd, so you know what? It may have been before the Lions got hot, but
probably was.
Regardless,
so I win it.
Regardless,
that's a hit. It's
regardless, I want to thank you because I couldn't have asked for a better fit. Like you gave me a gift. Like you wrapped it up and presented it to me, and I want to thank you. I appreciate it. That's so nice of you to give me another win. And with plus odds too, I love it.
I did want to look to get you out of the plus territory for a plus or for a 22.5 line. I couldn't find it. It goes from 22 to 23.5 because that would have kept me in a relatively, odds wise, heavy favored to hit type of a play with you still being in the minus 110 range. Couldn't find it. So little caveat there, but it's locked in. And I don't even know if the Seahawks sniffed 20 points this week. So I'll take that one. And I'm looking forward to being 1-0. Or 1-1.
Just to show you, 1-1, you lost. So don't 1-0. That flew out the window. A couple days ago.
A while ago.
Just to prove to you how much I love this pick. I'm not lying to the people here. This is dead honest, and I can even post my notes here. My fade me pick for this week, if I had landed, was to do the same strategy as last week. My fade me pick was Seahawks plus 200. So, that was, I literally, the Seattle, I love this game. I love Seattle in this game so much. You just played right into my hand, and I love it. I love the fact that you just gave me everything that I wanted. I appreciate you, Ev. 2-0 is going to taste very well. It's going to taste very well.
Oh, my God.
It's going to taste like a nice warm chocolate chip cookie right out of the oven.
All right, well, that does wrap it up. You got anything else for anyone watching other than your victory laps before you've become a victor yet?
No, just if you guys want to win, just hop on my picks. I know last week I let you guys down a little bit, but this week is just it's beautiful. Hey, the board is perfect.
Posted the poll over on Twitter, and we'll do it again. Make sure to go find it at Guy Boston Sports on Twitter. I think it was 75% of people are on Team Ev last week. They caught the L. 25% of people are on Team Tasos.
Not a big enough sample size. So guys, make sure you go vote because the sample size was not big enough to prove anything last week.
We'll put the link to the tweet in the pinned comment of this so people can vote.
Yeah, because that poll has to be thrown out. It doesn't count.
Well, I mean, it's true. You got the win. It's I was the favorite and you cashed plus money. So, I mean, I can't even brag about it. But man of the people, I guess. I'll lose with him, win with him. Fade me if you want. But all right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for week 2. Head-to-head, H2H. We're probably just going to call it H2H from now on because that's the real name. Head-to-head is what it means.
It's easier too. More simple.
Yeah, for sure. With the logo too. But it's going to wrap it up. We'll catch you guys next week when we are now in the future. Speaking of my future self, feels really good to be 1-1. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Let's go Hawks. Let's go Hawks. Let's go. Oh, I love that. That's perfect.